Hello, I am with Azim Jamal. After his highly successful TED Talk in Vancouver, we thought let's share a little bit more information and go through the TED Talk in a bit more detail and dissect the key learnings that we have learned from this TED Talk. Azim, welcome. So Azim, let's start with one of the points that you raised in your TED Talk in Vancouver. You said the purpose of life is a life of purpose. Please elaborate.
Whether you realize or not, all of us are looking for a life of purpose. I was too. I discovered mine by adopting one simple daily habit. That daily habit was live to give. Live to give is a philosophy that everything you do, you permeate with giving. The way you deal with your family, the way you deal with the customers, the way you even deal with a distant stranger is permeated in giving. So it becomes a way of life. Yeah? And what I'm saying is that there's no purpose where there's no giving. It has to be connected, right? And in fact, there's nothing such more potent and powerful than giving.
And you're spending your life now just going around the world and talking about this need to give. How has that been so far?
Well, it's very powerful because, when you look at the world, there's a big divide, right? I look at it as a whole world as a family. If your family, your brother or sister is having difficulty, how would you feel? And I think once we realize that we are one, then the boundaries and all this can be removed, then the world can be a better. There's enough food in the world, enough money in the world, and why do we have so many people starving?
Giving doesn't have to be large. And I was really touched by your story of you walking into the tent of the Afghan refugees and the 11 sitting around you and then offering you a cup of tea. So you don't have to give a lot to create happiness.
No, it's also relative, right? Because these people had nothing and they were still able to give me a hot cup of tea and some dry fruits. And when I took a sip, there was a glow in their face because they were able to give you something. It made me realize that richness is not defined by how much you have, but richness is defined by how much you give.
There is some science, there is some data on the benefits of giving. Can you cover that for us, please?
So let's take an example of Dr. Stephen Post. He's done about 50 scientific studies in top universities in the US, and he's concluded that a simple act of purposeful giving enhances your happiness, your health, your resilience, your creativity, and your longevity. Amazing, right? And also science has proven that human beings are hardwired to give. They have an innate need to give. They're born to give. And when we suppress giving, we suppress our potential, we suppress our calling, suppress our gift.
And you and I have had several conversations on IQ versus EQ. Do you have to have high EQ, emotional intelligence, to be a giver?
So I think if you think about it, emotional intelligence implies that you have empathy, you have compassion, you have self-awareness. Those things help you. If we're talking about giving to be a way of life, that you permeate giving in everything you do, then if you're compassionate with people, if you have empathy to people, if you have self-awareness, that increases and enhances your capacity to give. Sometimes people feel that if I look after myself and I just think about me, it's selfish. But actually, if you look after yourself, your health, your mind, your spirit, and you're more energetic, then you can give more of your time, of your knowledge, of your wisdom. If you're successful in business, you can give more money. So sometimes you have to be successful within to be able to help others outside, right? It's an inside-out approach. So when you give, it's impossible not to get something back. And there's another saying, I think it's a Chinese proverb, a bit of fragrance always clings to the hand that gives you roses. So when you give somebody roses, there is some fragrance still left in your hands. So you cannot receive without giving. And people think that when I give now, I will get when I die or something. But whenever you do something good, you get it right away.
Whether it's leaders, whether it's parents, everybody in life wants more. We're all striving for more. It could be more material, it could be more time, it could be more of anything. What's wrong with that?
So, we live in the life of getting. But despite all the possessions we have, we still don't find deep fulfillment. We still don't find, deep joy. Whereas if you start to give, it helps you to find your purpose, because purpose is always tied to giving. When you find your purpose, you tap into your potential. When you tap into your potential, you make impact. And when you make impact, you find fulfillment. So it's through giving that ultimately you receive. If I ask you to close your fist, just close your fist. Now if I give you something, can you receive? Now open your fist and give. And if I give you something, can you receive? So the more in the flow of giving you are, the more giving flows through you. The more in the flow of abundance you are, abundance flows through you. The more you keep on giving, the more you keep on creating. The more you keep on innovating, the more you keep on receiving, the more you keep on finding.
And so, making it a little bit more concrete, if I'm an entrepreneur and I've got a target of making $10 million, for example, that search for material, is that a conflict with your philosophy of live to give?
No, this I think, if you look at the corporate Sufi approach, it's the purpose why you want 100 million. You see, if you are a business person who works with ethics, values, principles, who creates jobs for people and uses his success to use it to help his family or her family and uses to make a world a better place, the fact of doing business is an act of spirituality, is an act of giving. So it's a purpose why you want to earn so much determines whether it's a giving or not giving. And by the way, to earn that money, you have to give. You have to give customers good product. You have to give customers good service. You have to go the extra mile to make things extraordinary to be able to reach your target.
Practically, with the demands we have in our lives, it actually is difficult to give, whether it's your time, even your money, it gets harder and harder. So two-part question. One is, if you're so busy actually doing good stuff, making a lot of money or teaching or whatever it might be, you don't have time to do more stuff, more live to give that you say. How do we balance that?
So Salim, I've been involved in the voluntary work for a long time, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, the skills you learn as a volunteer, I don't think Harvard can teach you. I learned to speak by doing this in my community as a volunteer. So I wrote books by learning about how to help families who are in trouble. So I think that when we give, we get much more than what we give really.
You told us about your journey that changed you from accounting to becoming a servant leader, essentially. Okay? How was that journey? How did that actually change your life?
So I went to do some work with the refugees and to do budgeting as an accountant. But I found that, I was so shaken by what I saw, the poverty I saw, that made me wanting to do something bigger in my life to help people like that. And I realized that, I had a gift to inspire. I had a gift to be able to coach people and stuff. So I said, if I do this for a living, I could inspire millions of people to give more, whether it's their time, their knowledge, their wisdom. And it almost, when I found that, it reminded me of Mark Twain's quote, there are two important days in your life, the day you're born and the day you find out why. I found out why I was born, that I was born to do this. And once I did it, I felt I found my purpose to change from accounting for business, which is accounting for profit, to accounting for life, which is accounting for impact. And I was willing to jump off the cliff backwards to leave everything behind. But my wife, my family kept me on guard that we don't give up the accounting businesses so we can balance the two. And luckily I listened to her, which made me sustain and do what I'm doing now and be successful.
So someone who is listening to us saying, I was inspired by Live to Give. I'll take the small steps. I want to go out there and make impact in the world. How does someone start that first step?
So I think the first step is really about, once you get a spark, when you're really inspired and energized about something, then maybe you've been blessed with a calling coming to you. And if you realize that, then you want to make sure that you're going to fuel the spark every day, so the spark doesn't get extinguished. Secondly, as you aspire, the universe conspires. Once you have the desire, help comes out from either the family or whoever else is there, and it helps you to achieve your success.
So what are some of the lessons that you've learned in the journey of Living to Give?
4 things. 1, as you aspire, the universe conspires. If you have a clear goal about giving, the universe will find a way to help you. This example I gave you of the book was a sign to me when I was giving up. Second is, as you try to help others, you get helped. I went to transform the lives of the refugees. In the process, my life got transformed. And third, you become fearless. because it's no longer about you. You have a goal larger than you. The subject, which is you, the ego, disappears in the object, which is a goal larger than self. If I was an accountant, I could probably reach 1,000 people. In this journey, I've reached millions of people because the goal became larger than self. And the final point is, with words we can only preach, with action we teach. If you want to teach our children something, be the model the children can learn from.
So what now? So how can people do this?
Go in your neighborhood, do something. Pick a cause you care about. Could be climate change, could be poverty in your neighborhood. Do something until you find what sparks you. You might say, Azim, I don't have any extra money. No problem. Give your time, give your knowledge, give your wisdom, give your experience. And do something for somebody who is lonely or isolated by showing compassion, empathy, non-judgment. So when you do good things come back to you. So make giving a simple daily habit in everything you do.
You've mentioned in the past that you need to have something to say to the Creator when you come to the end of the road. You should have that as your vision. What is your vision?
So as I mentioned earlier, that I would like when I die people to say Azim never missed a chance to give. Whether it was giving his time, his knowledge, his wisdom, his money, whatever it was, he gave something, because giving is a privilege, giving is a blessing, giving is not a burden, giving is not an obligation, giving is something that only comes to people who are blessed. And some people want to give, but they can't give. But those who are blessed will always have a chance to give. And as long as you're doing that, you become a force for good.
Live to give. Everyone gets it. It's a simple philosophy. But what are the key messages that you want to leave us with?
So number one is that we are all born with a purpose. And we all have got a gift to fulfill our purpose. And this gift is given to us to use it to make a world a better place. And if you don't use your gift to make a world a place, you will be average, because you don't tap into your genius. You haven't opened your birthday gift, the gift you're born with. Once you open your birthday gift and use it to fulfill your purpose, you become magical, you become amazing. So that's number one. Second thing is, the way to discover that is to start a daily, simple habit of live to give. Because as you're giving it, you'll stumble into something that sparks you. Unless you do that, you don't know what will create the spark, okay? Number three is that our life normally are revolving around getting. But if you look at your life, how much is getting done for you? And how many people you know who have got so much and still not satisfied? Okay, so getting all the possessions don't give us that deep fulfillment. But instead, if you give, you find your purpose. When you find your purpose, you make impact. When you make impact, you tap into your potential. And that also creates deep fulfillment. In the journey, there will be obstacles, there will be hurdles, there will be challenges. Look at them as a blessing, because they make you better, not worse. Take your family to be part of your support system so that you can sustain your success. And as you go forward, you will have lessons you will learn. You'll find the universe becomes your partner. You'll find that as you give, you receive. As you transform others, you get transformed. You'll find that you become fearless, and you'll find your family flow from you. And then the more you give, the more you create, and the more you tap into your genius. So it's a win-win-win philosophy, and there's nothing more powerful, nothing more potent, nothing more, a real force than giving.
Thank you very much. Very powerful thoughts. We do hope that this will encourage you to live, to give. Thank you.